I'm being gang stalked, and this is how they're successful with tampering with my food. They get these people in the neighborhood watch groups, the community-based surveillance programs, to follow me in the stores to see what I'm buying exactly. So look at this gentleman here and look at this female here. They look right at my cart, and then they look right at that product in my cart that's on the shelf to identify what that product is exactly. So she's looking at it, she's trying to memorize what the details are of that product that's in my cart. So this happens every time I go into a store. Every time, every store that I go to, they will see what's in my cart, and they will look at that product at the shelf. So you're going to notice in the next clip, the same thing. The next female will come in, she looks right at the shelf, and then right at my cart to see what that product is. So it's just the same thing, but vice versa. So she's looking at the product, the oatmeal that I have on the shelf, and then she looks right at my cart. So it's very subtle, right? Anyone who's not being gang stalked is not going to notice these little tactics. But the one who's being targeted is very used to this harassment, this crowding, this mobbing, because we deal with this every time we go into a store. So look at this. So I'm walking, and you're going to notice that this lady here is side-eyeing my cart. Now, you can't necessarily see it as much because the video is blurry. I'm walking, and I'm moving the camera too much, but she is side-eyeing my cart as I'm walking by, and they do this a lot as well when I'm shopping in the stores. So you're going to notice this lady here in the scarf. She's looking at a product, and then she stops and she looks right at my cart. So she knows that I'm approaching her because my phone is being tracked. And these people in these watch groups are most likely tracking me as well, right? So that's their method of following me around in the stores. And then you're going to notice this guy in the brown. He looks at my cart, and then as he passes by me, he looks at my cart again. Now I'm going to be approaching the lineup, and you're going to notice that the gentleman that I passed by is giving me a dirty look. He's looking at my cart, and I pass by him. So it's just the same thing, basically. They're all told to follow me around in the stores to see what foods I'm buying. And they've tampered with my food many times. Looks at my cart, looks directly up at me. I'm being gang stalked, and this is how they're successful. I'm being gang stalked, and this is how they're seeing the lineup by him. So looks at my cart, looks directly up at me. So I'm being targeted, and the people who are behind my harassment are quite literally trying to starve me out. And if you don't know about my situation, go to my YouTube, Stalked by Masonic Scum. My TikTok regarding this situation is down at this time. I want you guys to see, okay? Every time I go to a grocery store, they literally tamper with my food. They know what types of food I buy, and they place it on the shelves minutes before I arrive. Okay, so this is what they do to systematically get rid of somebody. And I don't talk about it obviously on this TikTok. By the way, there's something in here that is tampered with, and they wanted me to ingest it. So I basically put it back. They basically gave my dad something to put in that shelf to tamper with, or it's already tampered, and they wanted me to pick it up. They were hoping that I would pick it up at least. So this is what happens when you're being targeted. For me, my targeting started with my ex because I got him charged with assault, and his parents basically flagged me in the system. So they're systematically trying to target me and unalive me through my food. These people have tried to frame me through my bank. They have threatened to make me homeless. They've tried to make me homeless in the past. This is what I bought today, y'all. This is the shit that I have to go through. I literally bought baby formula because I had way too much anxiety about buying foods that I would regularly buy. I know that they're tampering with those foods. They literally place these items minutes before I arrive on the aisles, on the shelves, and they're hoping that I would basically pick it up, right? So this is what happens when you're being targeted. They have threatened to confiscate my business. They've tried to strip me from my business so I wouldn't have any way of making a living for myself. They're basically isolating me, by the way. So my dad is also on the lease, right? He lives here, but he's never here. And they falsified his medical records, claiming that he has cancer. By the way, there is a hospital that was involved in my harassment. So you could imagine that they will go as far as falsifying my dad's medical records. And they basically get him to stay at a motel. I recently found out that he's been staying at a motel, and this is how they get away with starving me out. Okay, because if he was here, obviously he would have food here. It would be a little suspicious if my dad was here, living here, and he never ate food here, right? So this is what they do. They slowly remove people out of your life, and they slowly destroy that person's life outright. So go to my YouTube, y'all. I don't talk about it often on this TikTok. I have a TikTok account regarding this harassment, but I have strikes because these cowards basically report my videos down. So until then, just go to my YouTube so you can understand the full situation. And yeah, I wanted to document this just to show you guys how far they go to systematically poison people and to set them up. They literally put adrenaline in my food to cause a cardiac arrest. They've done this 7 times on different occasions. And when they cannot poison that victim, when they cannot set them up through their food, they will either try to frame them in some type of way with a crime. They'll try to make them homeless, which they have already tried to do. They have already tried to frame me through my bank. And at this point, I do suspect that they're gonna try to use my dad against me. Whether it's going overseas with him or him going by himself overseas and faking his fucking death. Okay, so they will try to further isolate that victim by making them homeless and eventually removing everybody out of my life. I have already pre-predicted certain things about what these people have done to me. And I do suspect in the near future, if they cannot get me to ingest the tampered foods that they want me to eat, they're going to try to make me fucking homeless in the near future. And how are they going to do that? They're going to get my dad to go overseas by himself, and they're going to fake his fucking death in some type of way. Or they're going to want me to go overseas with him and marry a fucking handler. Okay, they've already threatened me with this type of blackmail through my YouTube comments. They have basically told me if I do not get married to somebody, and basically go along with that, it's basically a do or a die situation. So they will literally tell you what they do before they do it. I've also had people message me on Facebook. There is one specific person, it is a female, and she's one of the main perpetrators in my harassment. And she's constantly posing as a man on fake accounts. And she literally messaged me on Facebook saying that she's gonna starve me out while I'm still around. So what are the odds of me getting a message like that on Facebook, and then all of a sudden, months later, I have to fucking buy food like this because they end up tampering with my food, right? I can't count how many times I've had to return my fucking food because it was tampered with, right? So this is what happens when you're being targeted by the GOVT. I'm also being targeted by MASON individuals, and they have a lot of connections. They are basically in every sector of society. And the biggest thing that blows my mind about this is that people in the community will they will comply with this. Like, people are actually complying with this and they go along with it. And it's like, most of them are not, like, most of them know that it's being done for nefarious reasons. It's like they know what the motive is behind this, and they don't give a fuck. So there's a lot of people involved in this in our communities, and they just go ahead with it, guys. They don't give a shit. If it means them getting a quick dollar from participating in this, they'll fucking do it, right? So this is what happens when you're being fucking targeted, y'all. Okay, so they're quite literally trying to isolate me from everybody. And sooner or later, I'm going to put everybody on blast, because you can't play with people's lives and assume that they're going to just stay quiet about this. I know exactly who's behind this, and obviously they're not happy about that. I want you guys to see, because some of you perps, I know you guys are going to come on my social media and try to smear me, saying that I'm a fucking liar, right? So this is what they do, y'all. I don't have a child, by the way, okay? That baby formula, I literally just bought it today for $200. Who the fuck buys baby formula if you don't have a baby, right? So this is what they do, y'all. I had to buy something completely fucking out of the norm because they keep tampering with my shit. So I'm being targeted, and